So in this training, we're going to look at storytelling, which is my favorite part. The organizing is important so we can get everything in there and organized and identified, but the storytelling is really the reason why we do everything and what it's all about. Telling our family stories and handing them down to the next generation is something that's so important. And we really don't want to hand the next generation just thousands and thousands of digital photos, because it is definitely something that they are not going to get to try to pick through and try to organize. So it's very important that we make a photo plan so our stories will not be lost on our phones or external hard drives. And using forever is the key because it's permanent and it gives us a platform to do the storytelling. So it's not going to go away when we stop paying for it. It is a secure digital home that will be there to outlive us and to hand down for generations. So this is an example of a story. This is really easy to do. I'm going to show you how easy it is to tell a story in forever, basically. I've got a couple things I'm going to show you today, but this is where we're going to start. So first of all, the Swickley Hunt. So this is a really fabulous tradition in my community in Swickley, and it started in 1904, and it begins with the blessing of horses. So I'm going to show you some examples of that. And you can read the story here that it starts with the blessing of horses, and then they have a silver goblet for that they pour sherry for the hunt masters. And then there is also a youth division. You're going to love seeing this. It's great. And it starts in the fall every year on the same Saturday. There are 20 hounds in the hunt, and there's one master that leads all of the hounds. It's quite beautiful and impressive. So I'm going to click off of here, and you can see here I've curated a story where I have created an album. We've talked about that with the name, the year in the front. I actually dated this album because it's a specific date. I have it marked public so that people can search and find this. And then I put that information right here that we just saw. I created one nested album. I'm also on the Historical Society of our community, and we had a lecture. And so I put a few photos in there from our lecture. And then I put the best photos here of the hunt, so they tell a story. But I'm going to go to the first album, which is the grouping of photos. So here's all the photos that I took that day. And you can see I took a lot of photos in here and some duplicates, some similars, and I could have just left it like this. I mean, this is not a lot of photos compared to some of the vacations that I've shown you, but I wanted to curate this and make it into a digestible, enjoyable, and easy way to watch and look at it. So I'm going back to the album I curated. So again, I have two albums. One is the one with all the photos in it. And then this is the one that I've curated as a story. So if I'm in here, I can click on the Historical Society presentation. And again, you can read a little more about that. And you could click here on the photos to just go through and read about, here is the Master of the Hounds. And then this is Carol Simple Thompson, who spoke and shared about the hunt and the history of the hunt. This is a beautiful portrait that is up at Allegheny Country Club about the hunt. Here's our lecture series. And this is the actual invitation, the first invitation, 1904, for this hunt, which was in Swickley, my town, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. And you can see that these are the people on the invitation list. And the train was leaving Allegheny for Swickley at 12:15 for the hunt in 1904. So that's just a little piece of the story, a little piece of the history. But down here, you can see the photos that I've curated. Now, in storytelling, here's another feature that's really great, and that is slideshow. So you just simply click the three dots and you go to slideshow. And I'm going to just talk about this for a minute while you're watching the beautiful slideshow. You can see how pretty it is, the display of the slideshow. So if you were to put this on a TV, you would be able to do that and see this. You can do that through Apple Play. Also, if you have there's the toast of the sherry. If you have a Fire Stick, there is a Forever app on the Fire Stick. So you can log into your Forever account and play any of your albums as slideshows on the TV through the Fire Stick. And Fire Sticks are like 20 bucks on Amazon. So I encourage you to buy one if you don't have one. Now on the slideshow, you can set right here with the settings, there's the blessing by the priest. On settings, you can decide how you want the style to go, and the speed and loop means that it's going to keep replaying the photos and the videos. So it's not just the photo slideshow, but it incorporates the videos as well. So this is a beautiful feature. I think I mentioned it earlier in some of this training. There goes the hounds. All right, so I do want to kind of speed this up a little bit so I can scoot past this section, and then I'll go to the next video. So there's the last part of this album. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that now and actually stop that video. Okay, so now I'm back. So the slideshow feature is fabulous. Again, the 3 dots and click view slideshow in order to watch that slideshow. And also it does allow you to set the speed and the transition style, and to set it to loop if you want it to keep replaying. This is a great way to enjoy your family photos and to share them on the big screen as well. All right, so that's one way of storytelling. Here's another storytelling feature that I love. I'm going to give you an example of a story project that I did. First of all, I went to my People tab. I clicked on my dad's tab, and I selected some photos of him over the last 80 years to make a photo book. So then all right, let me show you another storytelling example. First of all, I created an 80th birthday photo book for my dad, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that first, and then I'll show you how I did it. It was super easy, and it was great. So I'm going to go to the Print Projects tab, and in here you can see all of my recent print projects that I've done. Here is the book I made for him. Now, I don't know that we've talked much about this, but in Forever, you can create printed photo books. So there is a great feature called AutoBook that makes it super easy, and I'm going to show you how I do that. But I love printing, and I love having photos in hand to touch and feel. There are so many studies out that just say that children who grow up with photos in books and around the house that they can touch and feel, they feel more connected. They have a stronger sense of identity. They have a sense of belonging to something greater than themselves. And it is so important that we are printing our photos, not just looking at them on our phones and on our computers, but actually printing them so we can enjoy them, touch, feel, and go back and look at these stories. So I'm a very big proponent of printing photo books. You'll see my kids, even now that they are young adults and upper age teenagers, that it's not unusual to come in and see them sitting on the couch with a photo book from years past. It is something that they love to do still. So we have many photo books on our shelf, and it's wonderful to reflect on those memories. Okay, so this is the end. This is the book that I made. Okay, this is the front cover. I actually made a softbound book, but I could have picked a hardcover book if I wanted. But this is a softbound, and you can see this QR code on the back of the book. That actually goes to access all of the digital photos that are in the book. So if you scanned that, you could have access to and see the digital photos within the Forever account if you wanted to share just one photo or do something with one of the photos. But here is the book that I made for him. And you can see here, let me just go to a page here in the way. Okay. So there we are. This is when I first moved to Pittsburgh. That's when I decided to start the book. And this was our recent trip to the Boundary Waters. But you can see we go all the way back, and I did this chronologically, bringing in the best photos in here, and then ending. All right. So moving through, you can see we go all the way up to when the kids are born, and just, photos over the last couple of decades here. And in the very end, I left space to write notes to him. So I wrote a nice letter at the end, and my children also wrote letters as well. So it's really nice that you can incorporate text and photos, and there's lots of different things that you can make in print. But really, we're focusing today on the storytelling and the photos. So I'm going to show you, we're going to search this album. So this is the Happy 80th to my dad. Okay. So again, let's just review. I did facial recognition and pulled together all my dad's faces photos. I went through and selected the ones I wanted to use. I came up with all of these photos. And then all I did was go over to the three dots. No. And then all I did was go to the little shopping cart, the print here. And then all I did was go up to the top to the print button and decided to make a book. So there are a couple of books you can make. The Forever Auto book is what I made. And that was just your basic book. And then there's also a seamless auto book. So the seamless one is much more high-end, high quality, and the photos span over the center of the binding. And it's a beautiful, more expensive deluxe book. But for this, I just wanted to make a standard photo book. So I'm going to show you how quick this is. So I just click the standard photo book. Starts at $12.50. So those are just soft bound. Well, actually here you choose what you want, hardbound or softbound. I chose a 10 by 10 softbound. So I'm just going to show you that. That starts at $18.50 for 20 pages. And then the price goes up from there based upon how many pages you have. And I will say that if you're comparing this to Shutterfly prices, Forever has better prices than Shutterfly, because when Shutterfly says 50% off, that means 50% off the first 20 pages. They're not honest with the pricing. When Forever says 50% off, it's 50% off the entire book. So there are real benefits at Forever, and also their customer service is fabulous, 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you're not happy, something is wrong with your book or some issue, call the support and they will replace it for you. Okay, so here we are in the book. I could come up here to edit the name of the title. I can see this is a 66-page book, and this is how much it's going to cost. I guess it's 50% off right now. They have different deals at different times. So this is how the book was put together. Of course, I can change photos out. So if I don't want this on the front cover, then I could come in here and go to, let's see. So if I don't want this on the front cover, I could replace that with a different photo very easily. I can change the background of the book very easily. Let's see. There, see the different color options that you can do. Okay. I could come over here and change these photos out, or I could enlarge them if I wanted it enlarged and center it a little bit. I could move it if I wanted this one on top. I could, again, enlarge, center. So you get the idea of just playing around with this feature of, organizing the photos on the actual book. I can add a QR code. This is amazing. So this is what's super cool. So if I go and select the album that I want the QR code attached to, I could go find that happy birthday album for him. I'm just going to do it as the test album just to show as the example here, since it's right there. But now I've got this QR code that I can move wherever I want to place it, front or back. And then here I can add the text. So say whatever I want. And the nice thing about this auto book feature, the nice thing about this auto book, and I can change the color. But the nice thing about this is the designers at Forever have already put together exactly what will make a book look perfect. And so it's all templated. There's not a lot of changes that you can do. One thing I would do here, though, is change the alignment so that it's center in the middle of the text line like that. So it just gives a little more space. And then I can put another text line down here if I want. Let's just say I wanted to put the year this year and put it in white. And I also want to align that in the middle. There we go. Okay, so we have the cover. And then we go through and all the photos are already set up chronologically as I had them in the album. Now, if I don't want text here, I can hit change layout and I can see these photos laid out differently. And then again, I can move photos around. So I can spend a little bit of time getting this to look like I want it to look. I can always add another photo if I want to, and then go find that album, and you'll just keep adding from that album. I could add a QR code, and I can change the color of the background of every page. I could have had the opportunity to change the background of all the pages at the same time. Let's just say I'm going gray, and right here it says apply to all pages, and then all the pages will be gray in the background. I also can add a text at the bottom of this page. So this is a test, and make it whatever color I want it, and have that at the bottom of the page. So I got room for a text line at the bottom of this page. Now, if I change the layout, there's some layouts that do not give you the text option, and they just give you more photo spaces. A few other things you can do is add additional pages and grab your photos and then add pages. You can add text pages, so just text. And that's what this looks like here. You could edit the layout. So this is another important thing. If you want to move some pages around, you simply grab them and then click and drag where you want them to go. And then you have to save. And then when you're done, I simply click add to the cart. And this is how I created this fabulous gift. I can't think of a better gift for a 80th birthday.